less than subtle parallels. You can start there.
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know.
Yeah, and sometimes I prefer for the biblical parallels to be a little more obvious. That way you don't have to dig through, like, 16 layers to get to it.
Right. And I think that's what they were going for. Not having read the books, I don't know how subtle or unsubtle biblical parallels are in the Dark Tower series, but it seems like they were trying to make it as obvious as possible who it is we're dealing with here.
Yeah. That is a fantastical depiction of what the apocalypse will look like.
I mean, granted, there's no Dark Tower in Scripture, but the idea works.
The end of the world happens, period. There is no way to stop it.
Right. But that's kind of an interesting way to sort of describe it, is just that eventually evil will overcome the one good thing at the center of the universe that's holding everything together. Although that's not exactly how it goes in Scripture. Yes, the world ends, but it ends for a good reason. To bring about the new.
To make way for the new world.
And there's not really that something of hope in the Dark Tower.
Well, the way I saw it, because every time we saw the Dark Tower was always surrounded by clouds. I think what the Dark Tower really represents is eternity. The kingdom of heaven. At least that's what it looked like.
Yeah, could be. It's not explained what the tower is or how it came to be, or what, just that it sends out energy to, sustain the worlds.
To the signals.
And it comes down to this one man who's lost his way because he's lost everything that he ever cared about. But he has to overcome that in order to fulfill what his destiny is, to protect the tower, to defeat the darkness, to defeat Matthew McConaughey.
I liked the literal symbolism in the movie. He had to physically look past his enemy and his need for revenge to see what was beyond and what he really needed to do.
The bigger picture.
Save Toy.
Yeah, it was good.
Yes.
It was, it was a visual storytelling way to kind of show that sort of struggle, that he had to move past his wants and his desire for,
the greater good.
Yeah, it was his desire to make up for the wrongs of the past and to see what was actually important.
We had to remember who he was.
Yeah, he'd forgotten himself, left himself behind somewhat.
And it's not until he accepts who he was and accepts his purpose
that he's able to overcome.
And he's actually able to do what he needs to do. And if he hadn't done that, the world would have ended.
Mm-hmm. All of the worlds would have ended, which was kind of the point.
Yeah.
And that it wasn't just Earth, it wasn't just one place that was going to be destroyed by this. It was all places, everywhere, that were going to be overcome by the darkness. It wasn't just he was defending us, he was defending everything. Even the planets that had already, to an extent, fallen to the darkness, he was still defending those. There was some weird, and maybe it's just because I saw the trailer for the new adaptation of A Wrinkle in Time that they're coming out with, but it seemed like there was some weird parallels between the place where he was with the beam control center thingy and the planet of Camazotz in the Wrinkle in Time series, where everything, like, it was like this perfect idyllic paradise, and then like the alarm goes off and the kids have to march off to be have their brains shot into space and stuff. It was kind of a weird control thing going on there. interesting to kind of see how the series depicted what, after the end looks like on these different worlds. I mean, there were things that looked like subway stations. There was a line at one point about, this being our version of Earth. So it doesn't seem like, or at least what I got out of the story that was, depicted on screen was that it's not necessarily different planets, but different possible realities, different threads of the string. It reminds me of like string theory and things like that, where it's multiple possible dimensions, multiple possible realities, and this story played out on every one of them.
Yeah, and how the gunslinger functions in another world, and just those differences, the way he clashes.
Yeah.
He doesn't understand a lot of what's going on.
Yeah. I'm wondering if maybe the other worlds he's been to either had already suffered that fall or just had not developed to the extent that ours has before it happened.
Well, his world had been that way at one point or another. It just, the apocalypse already happened in his world.
Right.
Everyone was suffering because there weren't a lot of them left, and everything was destroyed.
Right.
So, for the viewer, we see what happens before and what happens after, and the potential of what could happen if Earth were to fall to the same fate.
Right. That looked pretty bad to me.
Yeah. Another theme that I found very strong in the film was accepting your purpose and accepting the gifts that God gives you. It's not until he accepts those gifts is he able to use them to their full potential, because he's surrounded by people who don't support him. They call him crazy. They try to have him institutionalized. They see different and they think wrong.
Yeah.
Instead of just embracing and accepting and loving him, all they want to do is get rid of him.
Right. And that's a lot of society kind of does that. They see people who see the world differently or operate on a different wavelength, and they must be crazy, they must need medication, they must this or that. And not necessarily. I mean, the prophets in the Old Testament must have looked like they were crazy people. I mean, even, in the New Testament, John the Baptist wandered in the wilderness and ate locusts. That's not normal. Not even then, that wasn't normal. I mean, I forget which prophet it was, but was told to marry a prostitute and stay married to her when she didn't quit her job. It was because it's, I believe that one was kind of symbolic of God's relationship with Israel turning away and constantly following after other gods. But, I mean, people who have a closer connection to God and to the Spirit have to look insane. I mean, because this world doesn't have that. It's, we see very few things beyond the physical. It's that everybody's just concerned with getting from day to day, getting, from paycheck to paycheck, or how they can make their lives more comfortable or easier, more satisfying or whatever. And there's so much that goes on behind the scenes that, we don't think about, we don't interact with, we don't see. Scripture says that people are going to have visions and people are going to dream dreams, and that was a lot of how this manifested in the Dark Tower. Was this kid was having dreams that he didn't understand, and it's like all the psychologists and pills and whatever couldn't.
She kept trying to tell him that this isn't real. It's not real. You need to stop.
Yeah. Like he was doing it on purpose. Like he was intending to have these dreams.
Yeah.
But
it wasn't until he met the gunslinger did he find someone who accepted and understood what he was going through. He gave what, gave Jake's gift a name, visions, not dreams.
Yeah.
He described it in a different way.
knew what it was and what it meant and how to use it.
And he took Jake to someone who could help him. A seer, someone who could interpret his dreams and understand what they mean, and someone who could help Jake.
Right. As opposed to just trying to, get him to conform to what the accepted normal is.
Suppress it.
Yeah.
The more you try to suppress it, the more forceful it's going to try to come out.
Yeah. And a lot of movies that kind of talk about psychic powers and gifts and things like that have a tendency to display it that way. That the more you try to ignore it and push it down, the more powerful it is. The X-Men series did that actually very well with Jean Grey. As many issues as that series has, the depiction of Jean Grey trying to suppress what she's been given and it bursting out and almost destroying the world is a good depiction of, you have to accept who you are and what you're able to do and try to channel that and harness it and use it for good, as opposed to just ignoring it or trying to get rid of it. Or controlling it. There has to be some measure of control.
Yeah. But other people trying to control the person with the gift for their own purpose.
Right.
That's control in a bad way.
Well, of course, yeah. So I thought that was pretty good. Was the way they depicted that. Then I guess on a purely cinematic note, there were a lot of fun Easter eggs and references to other Stephen King works.
Pennywise is alive, people. He never died. He never will.
Yeah. Pennywise amusement park. That's creepy. That's creepy and wrong.
Yeah.
Some of them are literally just, winks at the camera and things like that. It's not necessarily hints toward a bigger world or anything like that. The portal number being 1408 on that one planet. I see what you did there. That's basically all that was.
The Shine.
The Shine.
Was the biggest Easter.
That I think might actually be hinting at a wider connectivity between the Stephen King works. They called Jake's gift the Shine. It's like, well, that's probably The Shining.
Yes. The boy in The Shining had the same gift.
Was it Danny? His name was Danny. Danny Torrance, yeah. Had the Shine, same gift.
Just in a different place.
In a different way. Yeah. So, I wonder if there's going to be some sort of a Stephen King cinematic universe, because I'd be on board with that. A lot of his stuff does connect. I know that several of his books, I don't remember if it was Salem's Lot and Needful Things. I know that Stand By Me, or I guess the actual novella is called The Body. Some of the same characters show up in that and Needful Things. So there's connectivity there. Needful Things is a jacked up book. If you've never read it, ye gods, that ain't right. That just ain't right.
And even in the books, Stephen King always hints at Pennywise being alive. Pennywise lives. The turtle can't help us.
Yeah.
He is not subtle with the fact.
There are references to it in Dreamcatcher. The Derry Standpipe and various other goings on. There was, I haven't read Dreamcatcher in a couple of years, so I'm not going to remember all of this, I don't think, but there was a plaque or something where the Losers Club had donated something to the city of Derry.
Really?
Yeah, I'll have to take the book out again. But, yeah, so a lot of his stuff does sort of connect, just within his own writing, which is really cool. I think more authors ought to do that. Even if it's not, even if they are standalone novels and they're meant to be read separately, there are things that will connect them together. I think, I don't know that everybody has to jump on the bandwagon, but I mean, if it makes sense to do that in a series or in an author's body of work, then I think that's a good idea. Because it doesn't just give the fans of the series, something to look forward to, but I think we all kind of like the idea of, hints at a wider interconnected world, and that it's not just, a day in the life sort of a thing. It's all of this is happening in the same universe. But yeah, I think the Dark Tower movie stands on its own really well. I don't, based on what I've heard, it's really not supposed to be like, not a replacement, but it's not supposed to condense that series into one 95-minute film. It's supposed to act as kind of a companion to it, or a sequel to it, or something to that effect, where it's telling its own story in that same universe with some of the same characters, but it's not meant to take the place of discovering the story for yourself, which is nice. Too many movies that are based on books tend to try to replace the series and be like, well, just if you just watch the movie, that'll be fine.
They condense too much of the book into one movie, where it just turns into this awful series of info dumps for an hour and a half. And that's not how a story should be. It's not how movies ought to function.
Right. If I wanted you to read the book to me, I would just get an audiobook of the book.
Yeah, just pick a theme, pick a story, and